Hello. Hello, everyone. Just waiting. I'll just wait here for people to join in and waiting for it to connect fully on Facebook. Had a little bit of a delay here this morning. Everyone just waiting. See? I'll just wait here. So it's on my phone so I can see the comments. Don't always see all the comments. And this is being broadcast on Facebook and on YouTube. So if you're seeing a comment on here or you hear me speaking to someone that you're not seeing in the comments on Facebook, it's because I'm speaking to somebody on YouTube. So I'm just letting my sister-in-law know that I'm up and running. So we had a little bit of snow here this morning. It all ties into the good morning, Linda Green. Linda, I have to tell you, you have been on my mind so freaking much. I'm like, it's been constant. I've been thinking about you. And by the time I'm usually done work, and then I'm like, oh shit, I didn't reach out to Linda, but you have been on my mind. Happy full moon. And hello, Mary. And so we are on both Facebook and YouTube, and I can see it's coming up on both. And I'm just making sure. Hello, Cody. And Eva, hello. And I know this is the middle of the work day for most people, but this is my work time. Oh, yay, I'm glad you got me on the lunch break. Oh, great. So we are in the full moon energy today. Yes, Mary, I haven't seen you in a while. We are in the full moon energy here today and a little bit of it yesterday and tomorrow. Hi, Sasha. Just people are just joining in, so we're just letting the energy move around here a little bit. Hey, Linda and Lindsay. Okay. Hope you got your tea or your coffee or your lunch, whatever it is. I'm drinking out of one of my favorite mugs because it's got a chip in it. So here's a little quirk about Corrie. A little Corrie quirk. I love this shape of a mug, and my mugs have to be thin, like thin mugs. I don't like thick, heavy mugs. I like them to look at. I love getting ones with memes and stuff on them or sayings on them. But when I'm drinking my tea, I like my tea out of these thin little. Christy. Hi, Corrie. I just loved reading your book. I'm so glad I finally got to read it. Oh, yay. Thank you. I'm so glad you read it too. Was it the first one? Was it More Than Existing? See, I'm not the only one that prefers these mugs. Good morning. Well, I can't wait for you to read the other ones. They're like a sequence of events. So every one of the books that come out, and there will be a new one coming out again in the spring, but they're a sequence of events. And so all of the books are all linked and tied to stories, including the cards. It's like everything just came out all during my healing journey and during that process. And I just share stories because, basically, no matter how much you try to tell someone how to do things or what to do, everyone has to kind of do things on their own time and their own process. Yes, get yourself a treat. Okay, so the next new thing coming out. Mugs are wonderful. I love mugs. So the next thing coming out, and I know some people in Newfoundland have this deck because you've got the beta test. So when I ordered the 10 beta testing decks, I bought them to Newfoundland when I went on tour. So some people got these cards, but this is the actual fully approved, fully edited deck of cards that is now coming out. And so these are the want to know a secret to a life of more than existing. And yes, I wrote it all. So I'm like, I still had to look. And so these are like daily devotional cards, I call them, to yourself. And I worked on these for a few years. I actually put some of these quotes, I took these quotes partially from I Want to Know a Secret that I put on Instagram a few years ago. And then I start moving them over and creating them into cards. And so these are now the cards. And this is what you'll be getting. There's 55 cards. And we will start pre-ordering right away here. We're just waiting for the boxes. The boxes have not yet come. And this is the back. And then there's no how to. It's just pull a card for yourself every day or a couple times a day, whenever you feel like it, because they do kind of call us up and out on our little bit of attitude. There is an F-bomb or two in there. Just saying. There is one or two little F-bombs. There has to be, of course, or else they wouldn't be Corrie's words. So there is a few little F-bombs in there. They definitely have that, the F look that I give people when sometimes I'm working with them. So if you've ever worked with me and you're not doing what you need to do, and I give you the look, you can feel the look in the cards. So these are going to be available right away here. We are just releasing it on the website. I will put the link up for them. And yes, there is a postal strike in Canada, but I'm willing to go with courier and send them out by courier. So I will be sending them out by courier. I do have a limited amount right now. I will have more on the way, but and so yes, I can't wait to get these out into everyone. All tomorrow's is their birthday. All and 8 days later is your son's memorial. Oh yeah. It would have only just been over a week after, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh, Beth, my heart is with you. Okay. So this is the new thing. And the other new thing that's coming. So we have on December the 15th, which is on the full moon in December, there is going to be a full moon energy forecast type of thing, but it's going to be more than that, where we're going to bring in the energy, the guidance through human design and through the alchemy of gene keys and astrology, like what the basics of astrology, not astrology, but the basics of astrology through each sign. And we're doing that on December the 15th. So you can join us for an online 2.5-hour event with myself and Lisa. We're going to be doing that on December the 15th. So you can purchase the tickets. They are available on the Academy. And the link is available right on this page as well, but it is through the Academy. You can go on and you can see that's coming up. So you can purchase your tickets, come join us for that 2.5-hour event. And then of course in January, More Than Existing is starting up again. So the More Than Existing level 1 will be starting in January, and that's also now up and available. So those are the things we have happening. So let's begin. Let's begin. Okay. I'm feeling out the energy, connecting to the energy. I am live. Okay, how come some people are not seeing me? I wonder. So you signed up this morning, Catherine? Yay. Yay, I'm so glad you signed up. It's an evening event for anyone who's wondering. I'm just wondering why some people can't see the coming on. People are not getting notifications. It really pees me off that people are not getting notifications. Okay, so where I'm going to start, let's talk about this. Let's chat about this energy. Let's talk about where we are in this energy with this moon. Now we have, and this is kind of like I've said, it's like over commercialized. So like there's this over commercialized complete journey where Pluto's coming out of Capricorn. We're never going to see it in our lifetime ever again. Blah, blah, blah. Like that's all happening on November the 29th. And it really affects cardinal signs. So anyone who has the cardinal signs are being, you're coming out of an end of like a 16 year cycle that you would have been on. And that is what is ending. And that's what yes, we're going to talk about this crazy energy. So that's coming up. But leading into that is this moon. Now, this is a super moon. So this full moon is a super moon. So you're going to be feeling this moon much more intensely. Why? Because these full moons highlights the areas of our wounds and our hurts and our areas of needing healing, resolution, resolve, completion. So the things that we are ready to be able to release, resolve in our life. So you may be having a like flashbacks of periods of times in our lives or periods of experiences where you're all of a sudden remembering, like kind of like your soul is consulting back to your past so that you can really truly allow things to finally come to a completion, a resolve in our lives. So, for example, if you struggle with something like the imposter syndrome spiritually, I look at it as spiritual, not a psychologist. So, on a spiritual aspect, if you truly know when you do something and you love doing it and you want to do it and you're proud of yourself and you create something or you do something in your house and then afterwards you go to doubt and then all of that doubt comes in and you're like, well, that looks stupid. That's stupid. Why'd I do that? Or you get all dressed up and you feel very pretty. You look pretty that day. You look good, or you just feel good about yourself. And then the minute you go to step outside, you just kind of glance in the mirror and you start to hear that negative talk come in. And that negative talk starts to tell you every reason why you should just get undressed and stay in the house. That's your imposter speaking. That's the version of ourselves that robs us of the opportunity to be able to shine. Well, that's one of the aspects of possibilities that is happening. So what we always have possible realities, right? And we can get so stuck in one reality and trapped in one reality that we forget that there is more to see or there's more to know. So yeah, we can have a reality of where we're hurting, where we have hurt, where we have pain, where we have unresolved issues or things that are totally out of our control. There's nothing we can do about. But if we were to kind of flip the switch and turn that light on another area in another room of ourselves, is that we can see, well, I also still have a lot of good people around me. I also still have a lot of good possibilities. I have potential. I still matter. I'm still enough. But the problem is most times we keep all those lights off and we don't turn it on because we get trapped. It serves a purpose. So it serves a purpose to our self-sabotage, to our being able to victimize ourselves, those type of things. Well, those energies are really truly coming up again as if it's being regurgitated to say, time to move on now. Time to move on, time to move forward. Yes, yes, she sure does need one. I don't even know where Sid is, honestly. Um, oh, she's underneath my bowls where my singing bowls are. She's underneath the table. She's not even right by the computer. Um, and so yeah, so all of these areas of our life. Now I was writing some stuff earlier as I was doing some of my own work. And so this moon brings up, you know, this is like the karma moon. So it's the moon that kind of is where we see our karma, we move beyond old karma, we release those old contracts. It is the most powerful kind of moon of the year, energetically. Energetically. Yes, they're all moons. Yes, they are all just, that ball of light in the sky. but there is an energetic force that comes from the moon and from the movement of the planets. What happens in the universe, we experience it, we feel it. So this moon does tie around karma. And, if we want to end our karma, sometimes we have to end the story. And we got to be willing to close the freaking book. Just close that book down, shut it down, not keep allowing that book to stay there. And if we want things to be different, we got to do something different, or we have to think a little bit different. We have to approach life differently than we approached it before. That's all coming up with this moon. Being in Taurus, I have a granddaughter who's a Taurus, and my Saturn's in Taurus, which is totally different. Your sun sign in a planet or having like one of the zodiac signs in another planet is always very different. They don't show up the same way. So that moon in Taurus often is the emotional, right? How we emotionally connect, how we emotionally respond. And so this brings us into the bull. It's a beaver moon too, by the way. It's also a beaver moon. And beavers are persistent. They are non-quitters, and they keep building and building. They are non-stop. So what is nonstop? What is going nonstop? Is it your head? Is it your thoughts? Is it your overthinking? Is it all the things that get in the way? That's always there. And so where we're experiencing that, or where we're seeing that in our lives, is to really look at the chaos and clutter that takes over our mind. And so it is in overdrive today because it is it's bringing it up in so many ways. And so with this, it's kind of like riding the bull. This is kind of where we could be riding the bull. Expect the unexpected. Like many unexpected things, like wasn't expecting snow this morning, and I woke up and it was snowing. It's stopped again now, of course, but it could be just little things that are not planned, but it doesn't mean bad things. It could be the most powerful, wonderful things. It could be where you go out somewhere today and you meet somebody you haven't met, but it's also where we are seeing endings and beginnings in big ways in our lives, some way. Right? It's also where truth may come up. You may find out secrets. You may find things out. Things may rise. Yes, ending of relationships. And I'm now overthinking this decision. Okay. I want to go to that for a second, because that's what we do, right? So you make a choice that you know is the right choice. And that's our shadow aspect. That's our second thought. That is guilt. That is shaming ourselves. That is doubt that comes in, and we second guess our things instead of trusting. Sometimes we have to make really tough choices and decisions in our lives in order for change to happen. And if we don't move towards making those changes or making those calls, you have to stay committed to the one at the end of every difficult situation where you've had to make a call. And when you have to stay true to that version of yourself, say, I know what I had to do. It doesn't mean, things are final. It just means sometimes you have to make a really tough choice and decision. And you have to stay loyal to the version of you that makes that. Because when you abandon her, then comes sadness and resentment and anger. Because whenever you abandon what you know to be right, you're going against your intuition. When you absolutely knew it to be right and you go against it, and because you feel guilty, or you're lonely, or you're feeling the burn, you're feeling the hurt, you're feeling all of those things, what you're trying to do is not to feel. And so it's easier to replace it with a similar old feeling by shutting down and ignoring the feelings that were already there. The hurt was already there. All those things never went away. Those things don't go away. The key to it is to not abandon the version of you at the end of every single one of those hard decisions you had to make, that you don't abandon her. Because when you look at how many times there is an abandonment story in your life, how many times there is a lack of loyalty, dishonesty, betrayal, all of those narratives and all of those stories is the thing you probably hate the most, but it's the first thing you're willing to do to yourself to be able to just smooth over your emotions. And when you're willing to just smooth over your emotions rather than deal with your emotions, it does reveal itself either in your body, in your mind, in your attitude, in your behavior, in your actions. It all reveals itself. Nothing is hidden. So sometimes when we're, this moon, we say, well, so it could be like a bumpy ride. Hold on for the ride. Well, that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It means it gives us an opportunity to let things be shaken up. Just let life freaking get shaken up. Sometimes we need a shakeup. Sometimes we need to have something not turn out the way that we want it to turn out. Because if we get everything we want, how do we ever get what we need? If we get everything that we want, how do we get everything that we need? And when it's our unhealthy desires that's always fulfilling that, then we're always heading into that journey of getting what we want and not what we need. And when we get what we need, our lives bloom and blossom. When we get what we want, we may get more of everything that we don't want. So more of that sense of self-betrayal, betraying yourself, trading off your happy tomorrows for just a satisfaction of today, for a temporary satisfaction. When we want if all we want in life is temporary satisfactions, how do we ever get to be able to discover the divine expression of what it means to feel that sense of peace and contentment that comes when we finally hit that place in our lives? And so that's where we are, and that's what's really coming up for us right now. And they're like, ding, ding, ding. I feel like they're hitting like an organ, and it feels like I'm hitting like one of those organs in a church, right? It's like, get it, got it, do it, right? Like you can it's so easy to tell ourselves lies. We can tell ourselves all the lies in the world we want and believe them to be truths. That's our whole life. Our lives are built on those lies. Our lives are built on those things. And it's like, oh, well, my life is going to end, and my happiness is going to end if this happens. Prime example. How many times have people you hear often teenagers, if this person leaves me, my life will never be the same. I'll never have happiness. Yeah, you will. Yeah, you will. Yeah, yes, you will. Will you be sad for a little bit? Yes, you will. But there is another freaking reality, and there is another truth. And it's like, so we hold on because we complete it by telling ourselves, I will never, ever again, my life, this is now over. Well, that version is over. That relationship is over. Those things are over. But there is new. There is new possibilities. There's always another tomorrow. There's always another opportunity, as long as we are here to have them in our human form. So we cause this chaotic journey that we complicate life, and we bring in the chaos. Well, this moon is calling us up and out on that. It's calling us up and out on them bullshit stories that we hold on to, or how we feel we have the rite of passage to mistreat people because we are upset. And it was like, well, I'm just empowering myself. Empowering yourself does not put a foot on somebody else's head or disempower somebody else. That's not empowerment at all. If you got to beat somebody down to empower yourself, that's called bullying. That is not empowerment at all. And this bull moon, this Taurus moon, is about that. My granddaughter, who's only 2.5, lets nobody away with nothing. It's like, it's not happening. I'm not just settling. And that's what she reminds me of myself, which makes me chuckle, because I would say, oh, just let your brother have that. No, why should I just let him have that? He just had his own. And that would be the little kid fight that we would have. And it would be that energy, because I have the Saturn in Taurus, right? And the Aries. And so I would the adults around you would say, well, just keep the peace. I'm like, why do we just have to keep the peace instead of solve the problem? Why does he have to get his own way? And why do I have to give him my chocolate bar when he just ate his damn chocolate bar? That's wrong. And there's no way of making that a right. And so that energy is really true. That kind of energy, that kind of force is right here. That says you can't make two wrongs a right. It is not possible. What can turn things in the right direction is to be able to look at things in a more honest way, being honest with ourselves. so that we can resolve those things. And so, yeah, I was that kind of annoying child in my life that would stand up for that energy. And then I know, and my granddaughter, my little granddaughter does too. And her sister will go, oh, she's a little Gemini. And she goes, oh, but Haley, you just want to share with your sister, right? You just want me to play with you, right? And she goes, no, 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 it's mine. I'm not giving it to you. So no matter how much the little master manipulating energy tries to come in and guilt her or shame her into doing what she wants, she's not freaking doing it because that's her innate characteristics. So your soul is trying to say no to you, but you're often throwing such tantrums to get what you want that you're refusing. So we use the master manipulating tactics to get people or yourself to go against what that true deep down need was to get what we want. And that's exactly where we are. I'm like, I could just drop the mic and walk away right now because that's the truth. Whether you want to hear it, whether you don't want to hear it, that's the freaking truth. And that's the moon. And that's how it's calling you up and calling you out. And so whenever today you have that little conversation going on, here's the little Taurus energy that is just saying, you are not emotionally manipulating me. It is not happening. I will not be emotionally manipulated. I will not be talked into doing something that is not authentically good for me. And so this is your first thought, arguing with your second thought, because we are so conditioned to run on that automatic response of guilting ourselves, shaming ourselves, manipulating ourselves, feeling that need to doubt, to talk ourselves out of what we know we need to do. And so this is where that parenting thought that I always speak about, that parenting thought comes in, and that parenting thought is speaking to us. So anything that we need to know or want to know, that if we get clearly out of the way and we let our highest expression of ourselves respond to it and answer it, 9 chances out of 10, you're not going to like the answer. Why you're not going to like the answer? Because it means you're going to have to take action. It means you're going to have to do something on your part to be the change that you want to see in your life. Or it means you're going to have to stop doing something that you continually do. A part of what you probably call, that's just who I am and everyone has to accept it. That's another bullshit story. That's not who you are. It's who you've been allowed to be. It's who people let you be. It's who you've become. All of those things. And so when we become brutally honest with ourselves about our own actions, our own behaviors, and then we also look at what we keep returning to and keep doing, then we really truly are now going towards the path of what we call looking at our divine purpose. And this is where we begin to end karma. Karma is what we live with in our heads, is what other people live with. If somebody does something wrong, wrong, and they never get found out, and you say, well, the karma has never hit them. Karma has never left them. Why have karma never left them? Because they've always had to live with the fear of waiting to be caught, never knowing when something was going to come up or reveal itself. So they've had to live never knowing when. So they've never been able to free themselves. They have known exactly what they have always done. And they've had to live with that. Karma never left them. What you have to release is the karma that keeps you punishing and torturing yourself. That's our channel message. That's what they're coming from. Think I'll just stay in today. No, it's beautiful. It's such a powerful energy. And I love this kind of energy. And this is the thing when I say, like, I know I have that energy and I've been lifetime trying to dull it down or trying to push it back down. And it's like, yeah, no, I've learned how to let it be mature and not immature. There's a difference, right? So we have a thing about emotional intelligence is that once you heal, you also expand your emotional intelligence because you stop having the tantrums. You stop having such expectations. You stop assuming that everyone should meet those demands. You stop being demanding of that. But there's a difference in being demanding and commanding. And when we step into our own commanding energy, is that we recognize the power. and we recognize the power that's in us, and we don't shame people, we don't guilt people, is that we just know that if I can just live in this truth, then I also have the ability to also feel what I need to feel and not feel like I have to keep running away from myself, and not having to avoid myself, not having to avoid my emotions, not having to avoid feeling. I'm allowing myself to be present with that. And so there's this bull has such power. How does beaver survive? Sustainability. They get through tough times, right? A beaver just keeps doing what it needs to do. And it's also built around the power of its networking, family, community, gathering, to get into the place of where we recognize the power of support. What is those supporting thoughts? Who is that supporting energy? And so what is the supporting thought that can hold up towards that imposter energy, that manipulating energy that's trying to kind of take me down today? What is that supporting thought? And if you can bring in the supporting thought, think of like the grandmother who just supports and just stands by you and just gets it, but just says, okay, I understand where you are. I understand what you're going through. What I don't understand and what doesn't make sense, and which is what is not okay, is this or that. So this is understandable, but that's not acceptable. And that's where we really truly are in our evolution. So as we're evolving, and I mean in layers, I don't mean everyone is like all the way up here and enlightened and you're doing all the freaking work. I mean in little layers in our lives. Where in our lives can we start implementing this? Because you can hide in the house, but the moon is still going to find you. The energy of the moon will still find you. No matter where you are today, the moon is going to find you. And this is your message. This is the card. And so there is just so much that is speaking to us. But when we are not even paying attention to the conversations we're having, or how we're talking to ourselves, or how our thoughts are controlling how we're showing up, we just never really recognize, because we're not paying attention. We're asleep at the wheel, right? We're just coasting along. We're just existing. We're just existing in our thoughts. We're just existing in our stories. Notice when people get together and they get in the little group and everyone's talking, da 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 da. I get this often. People will say, "Did anyone else just see that bird?" When those little bird just touched, not little, big ass bird just touched on the window. Um, So I often get people and they're sitting in a group and they start talking about, things that they're doing in life, or things that's happening in life, and healing people they've worked with, or things like that. And then they'll just say to me things like, "Oh my God, like have you ever read about this, or have you ever done this?" And I look at people like they have 10 heads for a minute, and then I realize people are not in the same place. So I used to find resentment. I used to get sad that people didn't see me and didn't see who I was or what I was contributing or doing. And then I used to think, then I'd get angry, and then I realized I was getting resentful. And then I recognized, well, they're just not in they don't know me. They don't know me, they don't know my work, they don't know those things. They're not trying to attack me. They're not trying to hurt me. They don't know, because that's not where they are. They're somewhere else. They're not in my world. And so it was easy enough to create a really angry story, to be resentful, to be angry. But when I could turn that thought around and give it the supporting thought of emotional maturity, I could see things much differently. And I would say, no, you know what? Tell me more. Right? And be able to move to that energy means that you're never robbing yourself of your joy. You're never robbing yourself of your contentment and your happiness. And so it's not that you fully can stop it, it's that you catch it before it takes over and consumes your day in your life. So where can I catch that today? Where can I catch those moments, those thoughts that take me to that place? Where do I get tangled up in that? And how can I resolve that in with just one supporting thought, by supporting it differently, so that I'm not allowing myself to get caught in that narrative or tangled up in that story? How do I move beyond that? And so that's what's coming up for us today. That's what it's giving us today. And so I'm going to give a card to go with that. A little side note humor. This person refers to himself as the bull and the beaver master hunter trapper. That's hilarious, Catherine. Well, there you go. Confirmation. This was like my channeled message yesterday. Yes, right. So here you are, Jessica. You're getting that validation. Hello, Marlene. Aw, big hugs to you. I so miss you. Onessa. Yes, all is well. All is well, and I hope all is well with you. Um, so Wanda, everything that was in this message should really truly relate to that comment that you posted, or the wondering, right? That wondering when my life will get better, when you decide your life is going to be better. And it's not that everything is going to be fixed or resolved. It's simply a switch, and you have to kind of turn off the switch in one room and turn on the switch in another room. There's more places to exist within you than there is in the one room, the one thought that you keep staying in. And it's up to us to make that shift. Totally up to us. And the power that brings. So I want to tell you how powerful spirit is. And when you get out of the way and you let spirit move you and you let yourself be moved by spirit, I literally dragged all of my computer gear all downstairs into my garage because spirit told me to. Like literally, spirit told me to. And when I got down there and when everything took place, it all made sense. And I had a definite, clear message. Sometimes when you recognize how our own darkness, our own anger, our own hurts is the thing that is moving us, and we keep moving towards it, our lives get darker, things get darker, we get angrier, we get more resentful, we get more of that. And that's not following spirit. That's not our spirit. When we move towards love, we turn the switch into something light, is that we recognize I got a lot of things around me to be thankful for. I have a lot of good things that are still here. I have to be able to learn how to change that focus, that narrative. And so when we're constantly and consistently returning ourselves to one narrative because things are not working out how we want them to work out, then nothing will ever work itself out. Nothing gets to work itself out because we get in it and we fester it, right? Things fester and things brew. Whereas if I move over here and just say, you know what, there's nothing more I can do, and I have to start moving towards my happiness because I only got a certain amount of time here on earth. And because you only got a certain time here on earth, are you willing to lose it all, or willing to give it all up to just wait for one certain outcome, or waiting for someone else to make some changes so that your life is better? The only person that makes your life better is you. And the moment that you make that choice and you decide that, everything else starts to move. Universe moves stuff for us. The things that seem impossible will become a little more possible, because there is possible realities when we kind of get out of the way and start living life and start moving forward, moving forward, moving forward. Yes, how we go through the different dimensions of love and of self and reality, and the way we speak can confirm where we are, right? If we listen to ourselves. So yes. And so stop trying and start allowing. And what I mean by start allowing, Wanda, is every day make a conscious choice to do one thing positive. One thing positive. I don't care if the rest of your day is but one. What is the one positive thing I can do? And then the next week, you're going to do two. The third week, you're going to do four or three. Then you're going to do four positive things. Then you're going to do five. You got to make the commitment to you. And it's about commitment. And and so how much more can we betray ourselves by letting ourselves get lost in everything that is out of our control? Can't control it. And losing yourself will never change that. Yes, right? And letting yourself see another positive side. I want and believe I trust my feelings. Yes. And trust me, the world is going to bring in, like, it's always going to throw little daggers our way that are kind of testing us and challenging us. And it's always that, what am I going to allow today? Am I going to allow this to take away all of my happiness? Or am I just going to recognize what it is and move with it? So, Taurus is a very fixed sign. These are in the fixed sign energy. Taurus is earthly. So we're going to see a lot of earthly things, a lot of earthly changes, a lot of earthly things that are appearing, that are coming up. And so there is a lot of, this is about our earthly existence. It's about how we show up in our world and the world that we live in and the world that we create. And so we got to make that. Sometimes the biggest shift we have to make is in moving from one side to the other side, from one thought to the next thought. And so from the want to know the secret is we have, oh God, did I leave glass? I was just about to look for glasses. These are so smudgy. So, amidst the darkness of our deepest lows lies the spark that lights the flames of transformation. Maybe today is the day you stop trying to find the beauty in your personal hell story and find a way to create your heaven on earth. When your intentions is heaven on earth, there is no need for pretending, no settling for imitations or imposters. Because we're not trying to pretty up hell, right? When we stay in our heads and in our head story, we're always trying to decorate and create some sort of environment where we have this temporary contentment, this temporary placement. But when we start to recognize that we can bring this heavenly energy in, we can bring this divine expression in, when we can move into this divine expression, and what it requires of us is to allow ourselves to go through our healing process and to recognize that sometimes, that hell you walk through, that difficult situation, that time, that's inevitable. Those things are inevitable in life. We're going to all have to face them. There's no way, no matter how much we try not to experience things, we're going to have to experience life. That's not going away. And so that's what I mean about the commercialized thing of, oh, well, your 16-year cycle is over if you're a cardinal sign. Pluto's coming out of Capricorn. You're never going to feel this again. You're never going to see it's all kumbaya and all hurrah, hurrah. Well, that's a bullshit story, because you're still going to have to experience losses and go through changes. But the more that you check in with you and the more that you do the healing work that is required, the more that you start to catch the moments and times, and you recognize that everything that we're going through is filled with love. Because what's trying to love us is the version of ourselves we're trying to deny. There is no one or nothing that loves you more than the you that exists inside of you. And it's like, and so we can create everything else outside of ourselves, but it's trying to love you through this. And so grief is the ultimate level of love. And so it's the feat of saying, yes, this does hurt. Yes, this is here. And yes, this is now a part of you. You're wearing this story. But this is, if we go to the hate or we go to the anger and we go to those places, how do we feel love? Where does love go? Where does the energy that is attached to love? Because what love does is love sparks joy. And when love sparks joy and radiance and bliss, it sparks this sense of authenticity inside of us. But it brings us to a place of being able to feel that love. And then over here, the more we become resentful and angry and those things, everything begins to shut down and everything begins to close off. And then it's like, it's so easy that to see everything as a negative and not to see some of the positive. Did we go through a negative experience? Did we go through something hurtful? Yes. Do we go through hurtful, negative things? Yes. Does that exist? Yes. Will it exist again? Yes. Will it be there? Yes. But what are we going to do with everything else in between? And how are we going to fill that space in between? Right. And so there's nothing or no one who loves you more than the self, that sense of your soul that is asking for you to return to love, to return ourselves to love. And that love sometimes is a cozy blanket cuddled up. It is nurturing. It is letting other people support you. It's allowing other people to stand by you. It's allowing other people in and not push everyone out. It's allowing yourself to enjoy moments with your family instead of ignoring that time with family. So because you're still so mad about something over here, right? Like there's just all of these little pieces that is coming up. And it's kind of all over the place right now. And so it is an intense energy. We do have an intensity to it. We are feeling the intensities of it, and we can become so fixated. So those obsessions, those addictive thoughts, behaviors, patterns, they're all being highlighted right now. They're all coming up. It's also a really good time to break habits. This is a great, powerful, influential energy to help you to resolve and move beyond those struggles that can get you to the place of all of a sudden giving up something that you didn't think you could give up, such as smoking, right? People say, oh, well, I tried before. Yeah, but did this version of you try? And so when we say, you know what, I don't know how to do this, but God, you know how to do this, then do it for me. Guide me through it. Take me through it, whatever that may be. And I just remember when I just heard I'll never drink coffee again. And I just stopped drinking coffee. It's not that coffee is good or bad. It's not that it's even bad for anyone, but it was not something that was helping my body somehow. And it was just like, well, you're not going to drink coffee. And so to get up every morning and drink a pot of coffee was not abnormal for me. And I did it almost every day for years. And all of a sudden I woke up one morning and there was no more need for coffee. I didn't need coffee. And so things can change in our lives and shift in our lives in a blink of an eye. We have to just move. And when we hear that voice says, you know what, you're done now. You're done with that now. This is now over. And then you come back in and you say, yeah, I heard that, but I got a better plan, or I know when I need to do it, and I know how to do it, and I know what I'm going to do. That's our superior ego, right? That's our superior self of, I'm the better boss. I'm more in charge. I know what I'm doing. And you soul that's lived many lifetimes, that's part of the universe. You don't know. My human who's only been here this time, it knows what it's doing. So you just back off, little thought, and I'll just run the show. And so it's highlighting that aspect of ourselves right now in such a way of just saying, okay, we'll back off. Your guardians, your angels, your everything, your soul will just back up and just say, go ahead, live your life. Your little human can just do whatever it wants to do. But are we going to return to another cycle? Are we going to do this again? Yeah. Right. And so these are the signs, right? These are the things that are showing us. And what it is, it's the imitation. It's not really our truth. It's not our truest version of ourselves. It's not who we are. That's just who I am. No, it's not just it's who you became. It's who you've created. It's who you've cultivated. Those are the things that come up for us. Sid has moved again. My office feels so cozy again. I finally have a rug put back upstairs in my office, and I took them out for a long time because with my dogs and when my other cat was sick, and I never put a big one back in here, and I just put a big rug back in, and I just so love my space again. Okay. Here's your next one. Here's your next thought to contemplate. Here's you want to know a secret to a life of more than existing. Have you ever felt the need to fix others? I realized that this was a way of fulfilling a personal desire within me. Instead, I began asking myself what I needed to do to address my own healing. Is this something you can relate to? This card chose you for a reason today. Any idea why? Would you like for me to read that again? Have you ever felt the need to fix others? I realized that this was a way of fulfilling a personal desire within me. Instead, I began asking myself what I needed to do to address my own healing. Is this something that you can relate to? This card chose you for a reason today. Any idea why? So we have the imposter, the imitations. We have those things coming up. Now let's move over into a goddess. See what the goddesses have to tell us. I got to drink some tea first. And I'm sorry I haven't been in many lives. I have been my life has been, my schedule, my life has been crazy, crazy busy. One thing that I do every year at this time is I offer out forecast readings for 2020 for each year. So for 2025. So you can literally purchase a forecast energy reading. And so what I do, it's a level of, working with the energy predictability. I travel through your energy. I don't just pull the cards. I channel a message for you. I channel what's happening, what's influencing you, and how it can appear, or ways that it has possibilities of appearing or changing, and how you can change some of those directions. And so those are available, and I only do 12. Last year I ended up doing 17. I'm not this year. I have set my limit at I'm doing no more than 12. It does take, when you order, it does take some time. It takes up to 2 weeks before you get them. It could even be a little bit longer, but those are now available, and they're for sale. They're on the website. You can go to my website. You can purchase the energy forecast reading. Also available is the 2, 3, 5 card readings that you can get emailed to you. I only have a few one-on-one sessions left until the new year. In-person sessions, if you're looking for in-person, that is not on my website. You have to personally reach out to me. I am very, and I don't mean this in a pompous way, but I am very selective. I don't just leave that wide open on my appointment book for anyone just to book, because it is in my house. So that you have to reach out if it's for in-person. And I also still do group readings as well, group readings online, group readings wherever. Yeah. And so our card to really bring this full moon energy and this full moon healing energy that we're all here to allow to flow through us today is the cosmic beauty, Zoran. And as much as energy is not here to be a personally destructive, or to be it's not here to be a personal vendetta. It's not out to get you in any way. It has its own beauty. And even if when it's moving through opposition triads, when it's moving through challenges, when weather patterns are moving through, it doesn't have an intention. It doesn't look down and go, oh, see that spot over there? I'm going to drop a hurricane over here because I want to teach them a lesson. That doesn't have that. All of that out there doesn't have the ego that we have. And so the unhealthy aspects of humans is our unhealthy aspect of our ego, and our unresolved issues, and our emotionals, and our emotionally immature self. And so the higher our emotional immaturity, the more that we move through. One of the things we do in More Than Existing is spiral dynamics, and being able to really look at how the society moves, how we move from I to we, and that collective energy. Yes. So Lindsay, they're all different prices. It all depends on the number of people that we have, the size of the group, depending on number of people. It all ranges. I think the starting price is, I can't even remember. I don't remember. I think the starting price would be, if it's a group of say 4 to 5 people, I do believe it's like $450, somewhere around there. Don't quote me on exact prices, but it's somewhere around there. And of course, the limit, depending on the size of location, or if it's online, however we're doing it, would depend on the number of people also. So yeah, but I do group readings. And if I have to travel, then all traveling fees, all traveling costs are also then have to be added to the price. So all depending on where I'm going, what I'm doing, and if it's online, all of those things. And so This is the Cosmic Beauty Zoran, and this is about where we are right now is in the resolve and the healing of the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, and the opening of the heart. Opening up our heart to kind of let the light in, to kind of expand. So there is an expansion, and so that we can be able to. You have people start watching my phone. Oh, I'm like, why is Lindsay messaging me that? Why is Lindsay putting that on there? Um, and so, and so yes, and so this is kind of a like we're coming through like a birth and like we're coming through an ending, which is like coming into a birth energy. So we're giving birth to to new possibilities. We're giving birth to a new expansion of ourselves and an evolving version of ourselves. So some of those I want to go back to Wanda for a minute. So like for example, Wanda, you're like, it's been very challenging, but you may have been one of those people who've been in the really hard times of that big cycle of energy that has been trying to cycle things through life so it can bring you into a new energy, into a new time. So those challenging times may be coming to an end, and there may be the possibility of finally having a resolve or a resolution that's happening that finally brings you peace, right? Like, so those moments in time in our lives is, that all of that energy is not here to cause us more harm. Um, it's the same thing as the narrative, the story of, well, why did God do that? Why did God take away our loved ones? Or why does God do that? Or why did God doesn't do nothing? That's not, God doesn't do that. It's our soul's journey, right? Our soul has its own journey, and the soul decides, right? The soul has already decided this, and for some reason your soul has decided to make that journey. So what if for example, your time in someone's life made them a better person, that you gave them something that they never ever got in another life or another lifetime, and you brought that to their life somehow, and that was your purpose. Whatever that time was, whatever that purpose is that we have in people's lives, is we may be enhancing their lives. We may be bringing something better, so that maybe they're better people in the end, but maybe they weren't the best person. And so there is a level of maturity that happens, growth. We change as we evolve too. Experiences change us, and how things change us, but it doesn't mean it has to rob us of our joy and our happiness and the return to love somehow. Finding our way is just saying, okay, I can do the work. I can walk this journey. I have to walk this, right? Rain or shine, I'm coming. Rain or shine, I'm walking this life. Rain or shine, I'm doing what needs to be done. Rain or shine, right? No matter what it is, I'm doing this. I'm making this happen. And I read a beautiful quote this morning. I'm trying to remember what it was, and it was about rain or shine. And it was about rain or shine, I'm showing up. Rain or shine, I'm showing up for me. Rain or shine, I'm showing up, right? It's something like that. And it was around there, and that's the beauty. And so the Cosmic Beauty Zoran is ultimately what we're here to do, is to return to love, to find our way back to that self. So as I'm coming down to the end of the hour, is when you think of your if you think of all of your so not think of when you see all of your chakras, all of your energy centers, when you see the energy centers, and if you've seen them as flowers. So the way the energy center, way the chakra is they all have these aspects of ourself, and they all have pieces that are here, and everything is closed. And with everything that we resolve within ourselves, or we come full circle with, those little petals open, and it opens up a positive aspect about ourselves. And so when those bloom and they're wide open, we're living in our light in that area. We have healed, resolved, released. And it doesn't mean we don't waver or petal fall off and we got to find our way back. It just means we are existing from the highest expression of ourselves in those areas. We are bringing our truest of self online. And when we start to open up that expression, we find our our divine self, something about ourselves. And so life is filled with challenges. There's no doubt life has been challenges, but we have outside interferences and outside things that influence us, and all of these, fated experiences, and we have to exist in other people's fates, other people's choices. The choices that people make dictate outcomes, and those outcomes influence and affect other people. Look at it politically, look at it in relationships. Is that no matter how much a soul to soul connection can be made, the human still has free will. And because we have a free will choice, the choices we choose are the things that still, they have an effect on the outcome. It's like, well, we're going to die anyway, so we might as well live this way. No, it's not about that. It's about, while I'm here on earth, if I make these healthy choices, or if I do this, or if I do that, because it's giving us the free will choice. That's why it's just steps back and says, you do what you do, you don't want to listen, you do you. And so that expression of ourselves, and that higher expression of ourselves, opens up something within us. And when we can move into that higher expression, that's when we begin to really truly listen, and we recognize that, I really hope somebody makes that different choice. But no matter how much we yell or scream, that different choice is not going to be made unless somebody finds their own light, and they do the right things for the right reasons, and they heal and resolve their own egoic issues. That nerdy little child, who was bullied, who still is believing all the world is bad people, and I'm going to be the mad scientist, and I'm going to create things and do things that are going to not be kind or good for humanity. Free will choice. Free will choice. And then sometimes there's a divine intervention that stops you in your tracks and just goes, oh, you think that you're going to do this? Well, now you're going to have to deal with this. Now we're going to have to see this. And so there's so many things that influences us, because we are existing in the imperfect world of humanity. And it is an imperfect world, but when things look like we're not getting what we want, and we're getting what we need to get us to the place we need to go, is we can look at it on a much more impersonal way, and not to see the influence as an impersonal, but to see it as an opportunity, because there's always these possible realities and possibilities that are to work with us, through us, and for us. So there's a lot with this moon, but it also is very simple, and it is the return to, if you can live from your beautiful self, how would the most beautiful expression of yourself show up in the world? How would it treat others? How would it stand in that light? Would we be betraying the version of ourselves that's had to make those tough choices? Would we going against that version of ourselves? Which version of ourselves are we moving towards, and which version of ourselves do we want to live in? Back to fluffy puppies. All right. So that's what I got for you today. And I hope this resonates. I hope this connects. I am going to go record. I have to go record the full moon update for my YouTube channel for the weekend. So that will go up probably later today. And so once my schedule is a little less, I'll be able to do more of these lives and back to reels and those things. But in the meantime, all of this work. But in the meantime, you can pre-order your Want to Know a Secret cards. These are now available. Well, they're not shipped out yet, but I believe we're releasing this right away on the website. So the Want to Know a Secret cards are going to be available for pre-orders. You also have the Everyday Goddess Oracle cards that you can also purchase. And I believe we had, I don't know that. I better not say that. I don't know if there's a special going on. And then, of course, More Than Existing is the first book. My Truth of Existing Beyond a Reflection is the second book. And Wine and Chips is the third book. They are all available. And you can get all the links directly on the website if you go to CorrieThorne-Cameron.com, and you can go there. And also you can join us for a collective energy update for 2025. You can purchase your tickets for the online event, and that's coming up on the next full moon in December. where we will be traveling through the energy between myself and Lisa. And we're going to be using the astrological signs, the cards, my channeling, the human design keys, maybe some gene keys. I don't know what we're doing, but we're going to really truly dive into the influence of the year for each zodiac sign, for each zodiac sign for the 12 months of the year going forward. So you can get your tickets for that. More Than Existing for January for the new level 1 class is all up and available. And there is a $500 discount for early sign up that is available there. Yeah, that's what I got for now. There will be more to come. I send you so much love. Thank you for being here with me today and through this full moon energy. And I hope somehow this message serves you. I know it's a little heavier, but it's beautiful. I can tell you it's beautiful because I know that Taurus energy to be such a beautiful energy. Even though it can take you for a ride, it can also take you to some beautiful places. I send you much love. Bye-bye.